Why is it that the people closest to us can sometimes hurt us the most? And why do we tolerate behaviors from family that we would never accept from anyone else? We don't like admitting it, but some of the deepest wounds don't come from strangers. They come from the people sitting across the dinner table, and because it's family, we convince ourselves to stay quiet, to minimize our pain, to excuse patterns that drain our energy and blur our boundaries. But silence never heals what someone keeps breaking. Stoic philosophy offers a different lens. You can't control their behavior, but you can control what you allow, how you respond, and what access you give to your inner peace. Today, we're going to walk through 10 toxic behaviors you should never tolerate, not even from family. Because protecting your dignity is not disrespect, it's self-respect. Stay with me until the end. And if you're ready to reclaim your emotional space, comment, "I choose peace." 1. Emotional manipulation. Emotional manipulation is one of the most damaging behaviors you can face, especially when it comes from someone you love. When a person uses guilt, fear, or emotional pressure to control you, it doesn't matter if they're a parent, sibling, or partner. The impact is the same. They twist your words, question your memory, and slowly make you doubt what you clearly saw and felt. Gaslighting becomes a pattern, not a mistake. Guilt-tripping becomes a habit, not a misunderstanding, and the silent treatment becomes a weapon, not a moment of cooling off. Over time, you begin to wonder if you are too sensitive, too dramatic, or too demanding, when in reality, you're being emotionally manipulated. Stoic philosophy gives you a crucial anchor here. Truth does not require someone else's permission. Your reality, your experience, and your emotional clarity belong to you. No one has the authority to rewrite your memory or define your intentions. Marcus Aurelius warned against surrendering your perception, and that is exactly what emotional manipulators try to steal. Your confidence in what you know is real. The way out is not arguing harder, not explaining louder, not proving yourself endlessly. It's following a simple Stoic protocol. Pause, state the facts. No emotional bargaining. When you pause, you interrupt their control. When you state facts instead of feelings, you remove the drama they feed on. And when you refuse guilt, pressure, and emotional twisting, you take back the power they've been draining. Emotional manipulation only works when you doubt yourself. The moment you return to clarity, the dynamic breaks. 2. Disrespecting boundaries. When someone repeatedly disrespects your boundaries, what they're really saying is this: your comfort, your time, and your autonomy matter less than their convenience. This is especially painful with family because it often hides behind love, concern, or tradition. They show up unannounced and expect you to adjust. They question your choices as if they have veto power over your life. They feel entitled to your time, energy, and decisions simply because you share a last name. And when you finally say, "I need space," they act offended, as if setting limits is a personal attack. But it's not. It's self-preservation. A Stoic doesn't see boundaries as walls. They see them as expressions of dignity. A boundary is self-respect in action. It's the recognition that your life is not a public highway for others to walk through at will. Marcus Aurelius reminded us to guard the mind the way a city guards its gates. You decide who enters, you decide how long they stay, and you decide what behavior is allowed. One of the most powerful tools here is simple: no explanation boundaries. You don't need long justifications. You don't need emotional essays. You don't need to defend your choices. I'm not available. That doesn't work for me. I prefer not to discuss this. When you stop over-explaining, you stop negotiating your self-worth. People who respect you will adjust. People who only wanted control will resist. And that resistance reveals everything. Boundaries don't push people away. They filter out those who were never willing to honor you in the first place. 3. Toxic behavior, chronic criticism, and belittling. Constant criticism is one of the most corrosive forms of toxicity because it doesn't break you all at once. It wears you down slowly. When it comes from family, it often hides behind soft disguises. I'm just worried about you. I'm only trying to help. I'm saying this for your own good. But the tone is never supportive. The pattern is never constructive. The message stays the same, repeated in different forms. You're not enough. You're doing it wrong. You should be more like someone else. Over time, these small cuts become deep wounds. You start doubting your abilities, minimizing your achievements, and shrinking parts of yourself just to avoid criticism that was never meant to build you in the first place. The Stoic separates evaluation from emotion. Not all feedback is wisdom. Some of it is projection, insecurity, or disguised envy. Marcus Aurelius reminded us to observe things objectively, without letting other people's judgments become the judgments we adopt about ourselves. Toxic criticism is rarely about your growth. It's about someone else's need for control or superiority. The Stoic lens offers a simple test. Is this meant to help me, or is it meant to hurt me? The response doesn't need to be aggressive or defensive. It needs to be clear. Label the behavior, not the person. This feels more like criticism than support. That comment wasn't helpful. When you name the pattern calmly, you hold up a mirror without escalating the conflict. People who care will adjust. People who seek dominance will resist, and their reaction tells you everything you need to know. Chronic belittling survives in silence. It ends the moment you recognize it, name it, and refuse to absorb it as truth. 4. Toxic behavior, emotional neglect. Emotional neglect is one of the most invisible forms of harm because it's not about what someone does. It's about what they consistently refuse to do. They don't listen. They don't acknowledge your feelings. They don't offer empathy, presence, or support. And when you finally speak up, you're met with, "You're overreacting. It's not that serious. You're too sensitive." Over time, you stop sharing. You stop trusting. You begin to believe your emotions are burdens instead of signals. Emotional neglect doesn't just create distance. It teaches you to silence parts of yourself just to keep peace in a relationship where your inner world was never valued. Stoicism offers a hard but freeing truth. You cannot expect from people what they do not have the capacity to give. Some people lack emotional awareness, maturity, or depth. Their inability to validate you says far more about their limits than your worth. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that people act according to their nature, not our expectations. When someone is emotionally unavailable, it's not your role to drag empathy out of them or beg for understanding they don't possess. The Stoic response isn't pleading for attention, it's strengthening the relationship you have with yourself. That begins with self-validation. Name what you feel. Accept it without judgment. Your emotions are valid because they exist. not because someone else approves of them. When you stop outsourcing your worth to emotionally unavailable people, emotional neglect loses its power. You become whole again, not because others showed up, but because you did. 5. Toxic behavior, envy, and hidden competitiveness. Envy within a family is especially painful because it feels like betrayal wrapped in a smile. You experience success, a promotion, growth, a moment of happiness, and instead of support, you're met with silence, sarcasm, or subtle dismissal. They downplay your progress, shift the conversation, highlight flaws. Sometimes they redirect attention back to themselves, as if your growth threatens their place. Hidden competitiveness shows up quietly. They copy your ideas without credit, compare constantly, grow uncomfortable when you evolve, and slowly you start dimming your light to keep others comfortable. From a Stoic perspective, envy is not about you. It's a mirror reflecting someone else's insecurity. A person grounded in their own purpose does not resent the growth of others. Marcus Aurelius taught that each of us has our own path, pace, and role within the larger order. When someone feels threatened by your progress, it reveals the gaps in their inner world, not a flaw in yours. Their reaction is projection, an attempt to pull you back to a level where they feel safe or superior. Stoicism reminds you, their insecurity is not your burden. The response is simple and powerful. Detach from comparison. Don't defend your success. Don't compete with someone who turned life into a scoreboard. Continue growing quietly. Protect your goals. And surround yourself with people who celebrate your wins instead of resenting them. Envious individuals lose their power the moment you stop playing their invisible game. Your journey is yours, and no amount of hidden competitiveness can dim a life driven by purpose rather than comparison. 6. Toxic behavior, constant blaming, and zero accountability. There is a unique kind of exhaustion that comes from being blamed for things you didn't do, didn't cause, and didn't choose. People who refuse accountability turn you into the emotional shock absorber for every mistake, failure, and disappointment in their lives. If they lash out, it's because you provoked them. If they fall short, it's because you didn't support them enough. If something goes wrong, you should have known better. Over time, you become the designated fixer, the emotional caretaker, the walking apology, even when you've done nothing wrong. This dynamic is especially painful within families because love is used as leverage. If you cared, you'd fix this. But what they're really saying is, take responsibility for me because I can't face myself. Stoicism cuts through this illusion with a liberating truth. You control your actions, not the stories others tell about them. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that other people's judgments belong to them, not to us. Those who constantly blame others do so to avoid shame, growth, and self-reflection. Their lack of accountability is not a reflection of your failure. It's evidence of their emotional immaturity. The moment you internalize their blame, you step out of your lane and carry a burden that was never yours. Stoicism teaches the opposite. Stay in your lane, hold your center, separate what is yours from what is not. The antidote is a calm, steady return of responsibility to its rightful owner, not with anger, not with defensiveness, but with clarity. You say things like, "That decision was yours. I can take responsibility for my part, not for yours." When you stop absorbing blame, you stop feeding the cycle. Their anger may spike at first because you're no longer playing the role they assigned you. But that reaction only reveals the truth. The problem was never your behavior. It was their avoidance. And when you anchor yourself in clarity instead of guilt, you reclaim the emotional space they've been occupying. Boundaries don't just protect you from toxicity. They expose who refuses to take responsibility for their own life. 7. Toxic behavior. Financial or emotional control. Financial and emotional control is one of the most dangerous forms of toxicity because it disguises itself as care, support, or sacrifice, while quietly stripping away your independence. Someone gives you money, then uses it to dictate how you live. They offer help, then expect obedience. They remind you of everything they've done for you, not out of love, but as leverage. When you try to make your own choices, they respond with guilt, manipulation, or emotional punishment. It doesn't matter if they're a parent, sibling, or partner. Control is control. When love becomes transactional, you stop feeling loved and start feeling owned. Stoic philosophy brings you back to the core of human freedom. Your inner autonomy is sacred. Marcus Aurelius wrote that nothing can imprison the mind unless the mind allows it. Even when someone holds financial power, emotional history, or a long list of favors over your head, they cannot control your choices unless you surrender them. The Stoic understands this clearly. Your dignity is not for sale. Your life path is not a debt to be repaid. Real love does not require you to shrink. Real support does not demand obedience. Real family does not ask you to trade independence for peace. The most effective response to this kind of control is a simple three-step approach. Document, decline, distance. Document the behavior, not to fight them, but to stay grounded in reality when they try to rewrite it. Decline the strings attached. Thank you, but I'll handle this myself. I prefer to make my own decision. And if the control continues, create distance, emotional, financial, or physical, because proximity is what keeps the cycle alive. Control only works when you comply. The moment you reclaim your inner freedom, their grip begins to weaken. Your life is yours, not a contract someone else gets to enforce. 8. Toxic behavior. Breaking trust. They apologize, sometimes with tears. They promise they'll do better. They tell you they never meant to hurt you. And for a moment, you believe them, because you want the relationship to work. You want to believe in their potential more than you trust your own experience. But then it happens again, and again, and again. The same behaviors, the same excuses, the same temporary remorse. What changes isn't them, it's your threshold for pain. You stop recognizing the difference between forgiveness and self-abandonment. And slowly, you begin to tolerate what you should have walked away from long ago. Stoic philosophy offers a brutally clear lens here. Patterns tell the truth. People can say anything. Words are cheap. Promises are endless. Apologies are easy. But behavior is the real language of character. Marcus Aurelius taught that you judge people by their actions, not their declarations. If someone's pattern is inconsistency, betrayal, and disregard, then that is who they are choosing to be, not who they could become, not who you wish they were, not who they claim they're trying to be. Stoicism frees you from clinging to potential and brings you back to reality, the reality you keep trying to explain away. The response is simple and steady. Observe patterns, not promises. You don't need to argue. You don't need to demand change. You don't need to beg for effort. You simply watch what they do consistently and make decisions based on evidence, not hope. If the behavior repeats, your boundaries must tighten. If trust keeps breaking, access must shrink. And if growth is refused, you must choose peace over loyalty to pain. Some people use apologies as a reset button, not as a commitment to change. The moment you stop letting promises blind you to patterns, you reclaim the clarity and strength they were relying on you to ignore. 9. Toxic behavior, using anger or outbursts as control. When someone uses anger as a weapon, the goal isn't expression, it's domination. Rage attacks, loud outbursts, slamming doors, intimidation, sudden emotional explosions. These aren't just bad tempers. They are tactics meant to make you shrink, submit, and stop questioning their behavior. Inside a family, this becomes even more confusing. They'll say, "I didn't mean it. I just lost control." Or, "You know how I am." As if managing their volatility is somehow your responsibility. Over time, you learn to predict their moods, avoid triggers, walk on eggshells, and silence yourself, not out of peace, but out of fear. That isn't love, that's conditioning. Stoicism cuts through this with absolute clarity. You are not responsible for another person's emotional storms. Marcus Aurelius taught that each person is accountable for their own mind and reactions. When someone uses anger to control you, what you're witnessing is their lack of self-governance, not a failure on your part. Their rage is not a reflection of your worth, your effort, or your character. It reflects their inner disorder. And the more you internalize their outbursts, the more power you give them. The only effective response is grounded, firm, and deceptively simple. Do not engage. Leave the scene. You cannot reason with someone in a rage spiral. You cannot calm them into self-control. You cannot absorb their emotions until they settle. Engagement fuels the fire. Silence starves it. Distance removes the fuel entirely. Whether it's stepping out of the room, ending the call, or creating physical distance, the message is clear. Your anger does not control me. Walking away is not weakness, it is mastery, and it is the first step in breaking a cycle that was never yours to maintain. 10. Toxic behavior. Playing the victim. Playing the victim is one of the most manipulative toxic behaviors because it inverts reality and turns your pain into their performance. These individuals rewrite every situation so they become the wounded one. If you set a boundary, they accuse you of cruelty. If you express your feelings, they claim you're attacking them. If you point out a pattern, they collapse into dramatics, tears, exaggeration, and twisted stories designed to make you feel guilty for protecting yourself. This is reverse responsibility. They hurt you, and somehow you end up apologizing. Over time, you learn to tiptoe around their reactions, carry their emotional weight, and keep the peace by abandoning your own truth. Over time, this dynamic erodes your confidence, your clarity, and your ability to trust your own perspective. The Stoic lens gives you a powerful anchor. Your peace is not their narrative. You cannot control the story they tell about you. You cannot force them to see facts, acknowledge impact, or take accountability. What you can control is whether their story becomes your reality. Marcus Aurelius taught that other people's perceptions are theirs to carry, not yours. When someone plays the victim and twists the truth, they are not seeking understanding, they are seeking advantage. And the more you try to prove your innocence, the more power you give their performance. The antidote is quiet strength. State your limits once, then disengage. You calmly say, "I'm not responsible for your interpretation," or "That's not accurate for me." And then you step back. No debating, no over-explaining, no emotional rescue missions. Disengagement removes you from their stage and forces them to sit with their story without an audience. Victim playing loses its grip the moment you stop playing the role they assigned you. And when you choose peace over their narrative, you reclaim the dignity they've been trying to rewrite. 11. The Stoic 4S Protocol. If there is one truth that emerges from all 10 toxic behaviors, it is this: patterns, not excuses, reveal who someone truly is. People can cry, apologize, blame stress, promise change, insist you misunderstood. But repeated behavior is the real teacher. The mind wants to believe words. The nervous system responds to patterns. And when the same behaviors keep showing up, manipulation, avoidance, disrespect, blame, volatility, that is no longer an accident. It is a choice. Awareness begins when you stop believing excuses and start acknowledging patterns for what they are. But awareness alone is not enough. It shows you the truth. It doesn't protect you from it. You've spent years being conditioned to minimize your pain, soften your reactions, and explain away red flags, especially when they come from family. That's why this transition matters. Recognizing toxicity is step 1. Creating boundaries is step 2. And boundaries are where your strength, clarity, and self-respect finally take shape. This is where the Stoic 4S Protocol becomes your guide, a simple, powerful framework that moves you from insight to action without being pulled back into guilt, fear, or emotional pressure. See it clearly. Stop romanticizing potential. Stop rewriting reality. Stop labeling harmful behavior as just their personality. Call the behavior what it is. Clarity is the first act of liberation. Stop and breathe. Before reacting, pause. That 2-second gap breaks emotional reflexes shaped over years. It shifts you from survival mode into conscious choice. Anger, guilt, and panic cannot lead you forward. Only a steady breath can. Stay rational. Feelings are real, but they aren't always accurate. Toxic dynamics rely on chaos and emotional pressure to keep you confused. Stay grounded. Let logic, not guilt, guide your next step. Ask, what is within my control right now? Safeguard your space. This is where boundaries live. Limit access. Reduce emotional exposure. Step back when needed. Decline conversations that go nowhere. Protect your peace the way you protect your physical safety, with firmness, clarity, and consistency. Awareness shows you the pattern. The 4S Protocol helps you step out of it. Together, they allow you to reclaim your life, not through confrontation, but through clarity and self-respect. You've now uncovered 10 toxic behaviors you should never tolerate, not even from family. Manipulation, boundary violations, chronic criticism, emotional neglect, envy, control, blame shifting, broken trust, rage, and victim playing. They all share one outcome. They erode your peace and distort how you see yourself. But awareness is not the end. It's the beginning. Because once you can name the pattern, you can finally break it. As you move forward, choose one situation in your life where a boundary is overdue. Apply the Stoic 4S Protocol. See it clearly. Stop and breathe. Stay rational. Safeguard your space. Small acts of self-respect create powerful shifts in your inner world. You don't need permission to protect your peace. You only need the courage to begin. Thank you for spending this time with me, for choosing clarity over denial and growth over comfort. If this video helped you reclaim even a piece of your strength, like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video, stronger, wiser, and more grounded than before.